One fact for every item in Pokemon, ranging from the first Pokemon item ever used by a human, to the most expensive item in all of Pokemon media, to what's really inside Oak's Parcel. Let's do this. Master Ball. There is only one method of getting multiple Master Balls without the lottery in the main series games, and that is in the Let's Go games in Cerulean Cave, where this glowing spot is a chance of being a Master Ball. Which is pretty weird because this can't be a Master Ball that failed catching a Pokemon, so someone just placing these balls here randomly. Ultra Ball. Most of the time, the Great Ball is actually better than the Ultra Ball in the original games. And I'm not really sure on why, but this entire page right here explains all of it. So yeah, if you want to know, just read all of that. Great Ball. There is only one game that features a Great Ball with its original design, with the game being Pokemon Pinball, where it features an S for its Japanese name, the Super Ball. Pokeball. Pokemon was originally known as Capsule Monsters, while Pokeballs were originally known as Capsule Balls, since they are based on the gacha machines in Japan that dispense capsules with toys inside of them. Town Map. The only time in the original games where you can actually see the word Kanto is when you interact with the town map in the Japanese games. Nowhere else will inform you that you're in the Kanto region. And this is only possible when you examine it on the table in Blue's house before starting your journey, which is a pretty niche way to find out where the heck you are. Bicycle. In the Kanto remakes, if you hack a bicycle in your bag and then try to enter Cycling Road, the guard will say, "You shall not pass!" Yeah, he won't let you pass, since the game's coding checks whether if you use a bike voucher, and not actually if you own a bike. Sneaky Game Freak. Surfboard. The surfboard is an unused item that has an index number between the bicycle and the safari ball, and was intended to be used to, of course, surf in the water. And you can actually use it if you glitch it in the game, but the surfing animation is not you on a surfboard, unfortunately. So I guess this item is only for Pikachu. Safari Ball. Like I said in my One Fact Fairy Pokeball video, the Safari Ball is featured in the Lumio City Boutique store while not being available in those games. But what makes this even more weird is that in the anime, Meowth is painted like a Safari Ball while in the Kalos Pokeball factory, insinuating that Safari Balls are produced in this region. So I wonder why they're being kept from the public. Conspiracy, I'd say. Pokédex. You can quite literally soft lock your game in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green if you roll your starter Pokemon before obtaining the Pokédex, which is a pretty hilarious fate after grinding for hours to achieve this. Moonstone. There have only been one Moonstone card printed in the trading card game, where it was featured in the Japanese expansion sheet number 1 from a vending machine, and this is what it looked like. Another fun fact is that every original Pokemon that evolves with a Moonstone is based on a Moon Rabbit, which is based on the patterns on the moon looking like an Easter bunny. Do you see it? And before we continue with the rest of the facts, this video is sponsored by Yowling Mythical Journey. And this game is an RPG adventure game that blends fantasy, collecting creatures, exploring an open world, and auto-battling mechanics, which in my opinion is one of the most enjoyable styles of gaming. And in the mysterious land of ancients, you can find over 300 Yowlings to your disposal, with them ranging from humanoids to bees to silly funny ducks to whatever that thing is right there. And with your Yowlings, you can fight off the demonic lords that have taken over the land with their evil presence, by using magical charms, special abilities, and strategies that only you can master. That's right, you. Not me, not Hermione, you. But this game isn't only about battling, because you can have your Yowlings work in villages earning resources by cooking, farming, crafting, or even mining. And along with that, you can explore the massive world and find hidden treasures, you can hunt for alternate colored or even shiny Yowlings, yes, they do exist. And most of all, you can fish, which will help you obtain ingredients, coins, and your inner peace. Oh, and did I mention that you can evolve your Yowlings and use magical spells that are like charms and all that? Kinda like Harry Potter when I was like saying you. So yeah, download Yowling today, use the link down below in the description right here and check it out. It's a really fun game, especially if you love Pokemon, auto battlers, and RPGs that are open world, and finding your inner peace by fishing. And shout out to Yowling Mythical Journey for sponsoring this video. And now back to the facts. Antidote. The original Antidote was a syringe needle, and this is what it looked like. It is also a syringe needle in the manga too. Burn Heal. In the Johto games, the Moon Ball has an increased catch rate on Pokemon who evolve with a Burn Heal. Yeah, you heard that right, a Burn Heal, since the ball is incorrectly coded in the game. Ice Heal. For some odd reason, Ice Heals can be found in Laveridge Town, a place that is based right next to a volcano and is also famous for its hot springs, while even having a fire-type gym leader. This has to be a joke by Game Freak. Awakening. An Awakening can be found on Route 11 where Drowsy spawn, and funny enough, the Japanese name for this item is Drowsiness Cure, so I guess this item was specifically made for these Pokemon. Paralyze Heal. In the Adventures manga, a Paralyze Heal was used on Blue to cure his paralysis from Agatha's Haunter's Lick, which was probably the first time a Pokemon item was used on a human. Full Restore. Champions are infamous for using Full Restores in the games, especially Lance, but in the anime, they have only ever been used twice in battle, with both times being by Lily during their Ultra Guardians missions in the Sun and Moon arc. Max Potion. The Max Potion in the original games is a liar because it doesn't actually heal your Pokemon to full health, but rather heals 999 HP instead. However, since there were no Pokemon that were able to reach that high of HP in those games, the Max Potion always healed to full anyways. So it's a liar, but it doesn't really matter. Hyper Potion. The Hyper Potion is the only variation of potion that has never appeared in the anime, although it did briefly appear in Green's bag in Pokemon Evolutions. It's right there. Super Potion. Super Potions have been a part of only 2 distributions in the history of Pokemon, with both taking place during the Hoenn remakes, with one being a Walmart promotion where you would get cereal codes for 5 Super Potions, 5 Revives, and 10 Quick Balls, and the other being tied to Japanese scrap cards where you could obtain 3 mythical Pokemon, some valuable items, and randomly a Super Potion. Potion. In the Japanese versions, potions and Pokeballs have the same naming convention, with the first tier being a potion and a Pokeball, the second tier being the Super Potion and the Super Ball, and the final tier being the Hyper Potion and the Hyper Ball, since the Great Ball is known as the Super Ball and the Ultra Ball is known as the Hyper Ball, which is why it has an H on the top of it. Boulder Badge. Some of the gym badges in the original games apply to stat boosts to your Pokemon, with the Boulder Badge adding a 12.5% boost to the user's attack stat. And funny enough, there's an oversight in the game's coding where every time the user has a stat change by a stat changing move, the badge boost is applied again, which becomes pretty broken in Pokemon Red speedrunning. Cascade Badge. In 1997, Kid Sugimori drew a cover for a magazine of his original characters and monsters that were not from the Pokemon universe, which featured a Tyranitar, Himotop, and Tortuga looking monsters, as well as a female trainer holding a Pokeball, who also appears to be wearing a Cascade Badge looking patch. Thunder Badge. In Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, the player can obtain an unofficial badge known as the Surge Badge from the Kitonian Gym, which is obviously a reference to Lieutenant Surge who gives the Thunder Badge. And this badge is also further evidence that Ryuki is one of the musicians of Lieutenant Surge's gym, since this guy right here mentions that he's a guitarist, which Ryuki happens to be. Rainbow Badge. The Rainbow Badge is the only badge in Kanto to have the same name in Japanese and English. And this is because all the gym badges in Japanese are based on colors, with them being the gray badge, blue badge, orange badge, rainbow badge, pink badge, gold badge, crimson badge, and green badge, which is pretty fitting for the last 2 badges being red and green, the same colors of the original games. Soul Badge. There's a theory that the Soul and Marsh badges were given the wrong names in the English translation, since marshes are the kind of environments poison-type Pokemon tend to be found in, and souls are more in tune with Psychic-type Pokemon. Marsh Badge. The Marsh Badge gives you the ability to use the move Rock Smash outside of battle. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice that Rock Smash is a fighting type move, the same type specialization as the Fighting Dojo, which was the original gym of Saffron City. Volcano Badge. In Ken Sugimori's early character artwork, it appears that the original concept of gym badges were gym patches, like this Cascade patch on Red's hat, similar to what we saw in the magazine cover with the female trainer, or Blue's volcano patch hanging from his necklace. Earth Badge. The Earth Badge is not actually a feather, but is based on a Sakaki tree, which represents a plant growing from the earth. Escape Rope. In Pokemon Sword and Shield, the escape rope was changed to a key item, which is a pretty major upgrade. However, the change was pretty minuscule, since there are only 4 locations in the entire game that the item can be used in, with the locations being the Galar Mine number 2, Glenwood Tangle, and Slumbering Weld. It also can't even be used in the caves in the DLC areas. So was it really an upgrade or a downgrade? Repel. In Pewter City, there's an NPC that says, "Psst, do you know what I'm doing? I'm spraying Repel to keep Pokemon out of my garden." Which sounds pretty suspicious, as if spraying Repel is illegal in Pokemon. Like, why else would he be whispering that? Old Amber. The scientist who gives you the Old Amber in the Kanto games only gives it to you to prove his colleagues wrong, and it almost seems like he's smuggling the fossil out of the museum through you, which is illegal. Firestone. In the original games, Pokemon with the same index number as the evolutionary stones can be used to evolve their respective Pokemon. I know, it sounds weird, but it actually works. All you gotta do is have the Pokemon with the same index number out, and then swap to the other Pokemon that evolves with an evolutionary stone, and then level them up, and then they would evolve. And the Pokemon that can do this is Exeggutor acting as a Moonstone, Growlithe acting as a Thunderstone, Onix acting as a Waterstone, Psyduck acting as a Leaf Stone, and randomly enough, Shuckle acting as a Firestone, who was originally a Misty-No in those games. Thunderstone. There have been quite a few close calls and dramatic episodes revolving around Ash using a Thunderstone on Pikachu. But I have news for you. All this drama and suspense was for nothing, since Ash's Pikachu is able to Gigantamax, which only Pikachu that are not able to evolve via Thunderstone can do. So even if Ash had followed through with using the stone, it wouldn't have worked, and he held it on for over a decade for no reason. Waterstone. In the Johto games, the Waterstone is not only used to get Vaporeon, Cloyster, Starmie, and Poliwrath, but it is also the only way to get unknown L, M, N, O, P, Q, and R, since it is required to open one of the hidden rooms in the ruins of Alph. HP Up. HP Up appears to be consumable by humans, as it is mentioned by a hiker on Route 45 saying that he drinks it, so maybe it's an energy drink or something. Protein. If you transfer a Dragonair from Pokemon Yellow to the Johto games, it will be holding a protein for some reason. I guess these dragons be juicing. Iron. Iron boosts a defense stat of Pokemon that is given to, which was probably the basis of the move Iron Defense, which does the exact same thing, quite literally. I wonder if there'll be a future move called HP Up HP, or Protein Attack, or Calcium Special Attack, Carbo Speed. I don't know, that last one sounded pretty cool actually. Carbos. Just like with Dragonair holding onto a protein when being transferred, Missyno will hold onto a Carbos for some reason too. So not only these dragons be juicing, but glitch Pokemon be juicing too. Dang. Calcium. Calcium was the first vitamin ever shown in the anime, where in the episode The Joy of Pokemon, a Nurse Joy pours a whole jar of calcium inside this Magikarp's mouth, which I think is pretty overkill, even if the Magikarp is humongous. But dang, his special attack is gonna be high. If any Pokemon had the move Calcium Special Attack, it would be this Magikarp here. Rare Candy. In the Pokemon Power #1 magazine, there's an ad for a cane that states, look for it at your local supermarket. Which is a straight up lie because it's not sold anywhere in the Kanto region. And if it was, that would literally be pay to win, which is nightmare fuel. Another fun fact is that in the anime canonicity, Rare Candy doesn't level up the Pokemon, but instead makes them bigger and uncontrollable, to the point where they can be as big as a building, which is pretty random. Dome Fossil. If you don't choose the Dome Fossil in the original games, you are guaranteed to not encounter Kabutops anywhere during your playthrough. And fun fact, the only other Pokemon that you're guaranteed not to encounter is Golem. But it's not dependent on a fossil, it's just the fact that it can't be found in the wild and no trainer owns one. Helix Fossil. As we all know, Twitch Plays Pokemon made the Helix Fossil famous by regarding it as Lord Helix. And funny enough, in the French version of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the gym leader broadly references his fossil by saying, I discovered the secret of true power by staring at a Helix Fossil for days and days. Which is just amazing, but I wonder if Game Freak even knows about this. Secret Key. This is what the secret key looks like. I wonder what that red orb is supposed to resemble. Maybe something to do with Mewtwo? And I ask that because there's another secret key in the Sinnoh games that looks like this, where the hilt resembles a Rotom, since it's used to go inside Rotom's room. Bike Voucher. In the second issue of the Pokemon Power magazine, it is said that multiple bike vouchers have been distributed, and that each one can be exchanged for a 98 model bike, since the bike shop's making room for the new models. Which probably means in the original games, we got an outdated bike instead of one of the new ones. So no wonder the bike simply could have sold it for $1 million, and then gave it away for a simple bike voucher. X Accuracy. X Accuracy is probably the best item in the original games, because due to an oversight in the game's coding, it not only increased the Pokemon's accuracy, but it made it perfect, meaning that a Pokemon with a one-hit knockout move like Horn Drill or Fissure would hit the opponent every time, making it completely broken. Leaf Stone. While most evolutionary stones are crystals with elements inside of them, the Leaf Stone is literally just a rock with a fossilized leaf inside of it, which honestly is probably the best design out of all the stones. It makes the most sense. Card Key. This is the official artwork of the Card Key, and if you notice, the Sylph Corporation is misspelled with a Y. And this is because in Japanese, it is spelt that way for some reason. But I like to think in the English versions, this is just a bootleg card made by Team Rocket to infiltrate the company with, and some dumb grunt just misspelled it. Nugget. The Japanese name for Nugget is Kin no Tama, which literally means golden ball, which also happens to be a slang term for testicles. And funny enough, in the Johto games, a man at Route 2 offering his golden ball to the player is a pretty big meme in Japan, because he's basically offering his testicles. PP Up. Up until the Sun and Moon games, PP Ups were as valuable as star pieces, since both of them could be sold for 4,900 Pokédollars. So I guess adding more PP to a Pokemon's move was just as valuable as literally reviving them. I wonder how that works. Pokédoll. The Pokédoll is the most expensive item in Pokemon. Well, sort of. Because in Black and White, there's an infomercial where the announcer is selling a Pokédoll for a whopping 28 million Pokédollars, which is the most expensive item that we've ever seen in any Pokemon media ever, even in real life. So whatever Pokédoll this person is selling, it must be a very rare variant of the doll, or even the first one ever. Full Heal. Weirdly enough, in the original games, Brock has the most items out of any NPC ever in Pokemon. Yeah, that's right, ever. And he's the first gym leader, because for some reason, he has 10 full heals, 5 for each of his Pokemon. So I guess Game Freak didn't want you poison stalling his Pokemon or something. Revive. There are several strange places to find items, especially revives. But the weirdest place is in Let's Go games, where your rival finds one literally in your hair. I wonder how that got there. Max Revive. Revives and Max Revives are probably based on the Japanese candy, the Konpeito, which seems to have inspired a lot of video game items, especially in Kirby. Guard Spec. In Celadon City, there's a trainer tip sign that states that the Guard Specs item decreases damage taken by special attacks, which is incorrect, as the Guard Specs item protects Pokemon from having their stats lowered, not damage taken by special attacks. So basically, Trainer Tips is a liar. I trusted you. Super Repel. Super Repels are more cost effective than Max Repels, since the price per step is less, by 0.3 Pokédollars. So in other words, you should never buy Max Repels. Max Repel. The Repel items have a color scheme in their Japanese names, with Repel being just repellent spray, Super Repel being silver spray, and Max Repel being gold spray, which matches the colors of their cans. Dire Hit. In black and white, there's a boy in Nakri City that mentions that the Dire Hit item is called Dire Hit in Unova. Yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious. It's also called Dire Hit literally everywhere else in the Pokemon world. Coin. This is the first Pokemon coin ever in the trading card game. Pretty fitting that it's Chansey, who is known as the lucky Pokemon. Fresh water. Team Magma's hideout has a vending machine that sells fresh water. Yeah, that's right. The villainous team that wants to remove all of the water in the entire world just keeps a lot of water with them. Like, okay. Soda Pop. This is the official artwork of the Soda Pop, and as you can see, it is called Psycho Soda, which might explain why it heals more than a regular potion. It's because it's psychic. Lemonade. Lemonade's Japanese name is Mix Ale, which if you didn't know is not lemonade, but instead a fresh milk-based soda. And let me tell you, it tastes nasty. It tastes like literal sugar water. SS Ticket. The original games don't actually check for the SS ticket in your bag when you're boarding the SS Ant, but instead checks whether if you saved a bill, which is pretty funny to think about. I will not start this ship unless some random guy in a random town in a random house in a random laboratory is changed back from a random Pokemon. I tell you what. I'm also sick, rub my belly. Gold Teeth. The Gold Teeth quest for the Safari Zone Warden is actually the second time in gaming history that there was a quest to find a man's teeth to understand them. And if you're curious, the first time took place at Earthbound Beginnings, where you have to find dentures for a healer. X Attack. In most trading cards featuring the X Attack, it's actually called by its Japanese name, Plus Power. No, not Plus Ultra. X Defense. The X Defense item in the trading card game is known as Defender, which is also his Japanese name. X Speed. The X Speed and X Attack items are the only battle items to appear in the anime, and they look like this. Funny enough, they don't actually appear in the canonical anime, but instead inside a movie in the Pokemon world called Wonders Fighters the Movie Part 24, The Mystery of the Wonder Launcher, which is a pretty hilarious title for a movie. X Special. The X Special item is probably gold due to being related to Psychic-type Pokemon, since they were the best Pokemon to utilize this item, and that the gold coloring has been associated with psychic capabilities in the Pokemon world, like Sabrina's badge, Psyduck, and Golduck, and even the gold gummies in the Mystery Dungeon games. Coin Case. This is the official artwork of the coin case. Looks pretty fancy, and this was the best fact that I could find. Oak's Parcel. Oak's Parcel could very well have Curt Balls inside of them, or a unique Pokeball that we've never seen before. Since Professor Oak says, "What's that? You have something for me?" Ah, it's the custom Pokeball I had on order. Thank you. Item Finder. This is the evolution of the Item Finder, or as it's called now, the dowsing machine. It started out as 2 sticks with glowing balls on them, to this little GPS looking thing, to laser guns that shoot beams, to now these earphones with bunny ear balls on them. I don't think I've ever said bunny ear balls in my life before. Sylph Scope. There's a sign in Lavender Town that advertises the Sylph Scope, where it says, "New Sylph Scope, make the invisible plain to see," which means that this item is sold publicly, and you didn't even need to battle Giovanni to get one. You could have just bought it, or used the infamous Pokédoll for that matter. Pokeflute. According to this gentleman in Celadon City, only Pokemon are able to hear the sound from a Pokeflute. So that jingle you hear is actually canonically not correct. So it's a liar! Lift Key. Getting the lift key is pretty hilarious because the Rocket Girl simply says, "Oh no, I dropped the lift key," and then proceeds to do nothing about it. So you can literally leave the building, buy dinner, go on a date, play some video games, and come back, and it will still be there. XP All. The Lucky Egg item boosts the experience of the XP All for all of your Pokemon, which is a pretty broken combo. Old Rod. The Japanese name of the Old Rod is called the Worn Out Fishing Rod, which makes sense when you look at it because it's literally just a fishing line on a stick. Good Rod. In the original games, you can only fish level 10 Poliwag and Goldeen with the Good Rod, no matter where you are. Super Rod. Also in the original games, you can randomly fish and surf on most of the Pokemon statues in the gyms and Elite Four rooms. But when you do it with the Super Rod, it will say, "Looks like nothing's here." So not only is the Super Rod a better fishing rod, but it's also smarter, or dumber, because there is something there. Ether. I personally once failed a Pokemon Red speedrun in the very last battle, all because I forgot this one Ether right here, at Bill's house, since it's required to regenerate my Horn Drill against Blue. Max Ether. Wild Abra and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon will always drop a Max Ether, for some reason. Elixir. One of the only repeatable ways to get multiple Elixirs in the Johto games is by using the Pokemon Pikachu 2 GS device, since you get an Elixir for every 800 watts that are transferred. Max Elixir. The Max Elixir item was actually misspelled in the first 2 generations. Instead of being spelled with an I at the end, it had an E, which is a pretty major error. And lastly, for the final item in this video, we have glitch items. There were quite a few glitch items left over in the game's coding, with the items being the Shell Badge, the Jizzo Badge, the Falcon Badge, the Cool Badge, the Friendship Badge, the Rose Badge, the Fireball Badge, and the Gold Badge. And there was an Egg, Chick, Bronze, Silver, Gold, a Petite Captain, and a straight up Captain, I guess. So at some point you could just store a Captain from a boat in your bag. Bears beat Battlestar Galactica. Okay, that's it. And if you think bears do beat Battlestar Galactica, then watch my 1 fact for every trainer class video right here. And also subscribe and ring that bell.